If you've ever watched your child read the same word 3 different ways on 3 different pages, I want you to know exactly what's going on, because it's not what you think. One page it comes out right, the next page it's wrong, and the page after that wrong again, but it's wrong in a completely different way. And it's not that they don't know the word. It's funny because somehow they know it and they don't know it at the same time. It's one of the most confusing things for a parent to watch because it doesn't make sense against everything else you know about your child. They're sharp and they're clever and they notice things that lots of adults miss. They can hold a whole story in their head and tell it back to you with more detail than you've remembered yourself. And yet, a single word on a page can stop them dead. Here's what's actually going on, and it's really talked about outside specialist circles. A visual thinker's brain works in pictures or visual objects. When they hear or read a word, they need something to attach it to. An object, an image, a feeling they can actually picture. Dog, table, running, sad. These words have something behind them, so the brain has somewhere for them to live. However, roughly half the words on any given page don't work like that. Words like the, of, was, if, and were. There's no object for of, and there's nothing to attach to were. For a visual thinker, these words don't connect to anything, so the brain hits a blank exactly where the word should be. Then there's a second layer to this, one that's even less obvious. Concepts like change, consequence, before and after have no fixed picture either, because they're not things. They're relationships or shifts between things. There's no single visual object for consequence the way there is for a dog. These words often carry the entire logic of what's being read, and when they don't have a place to settle in the brain, a child can decode every single word in a sentence correctly and still have absolutely no real idea what just happened. A colleague of mine, Anne-Marie Beggs, describes this perfectly. She says, it's like speed bumps on the road. Every non-visual word is another bump, another small jolt that breaks the flow right in the middle of a sentence the child is trying to piece together. And then when half the words on the page are speed bumps, reading stops being a smooth road and starts being something that you have to constantly brace for. What happens for the reader? Well, the child adapts, or the reader adapts. And this is not because anyone taught them to, but it's the only way forward that doesn't involve stopping dead every second line. They stop trying to process every word properly and they start guessing instead. Taking in a word's overall shape, its length, a letter or two they recognise and filling in the rest. This is the part that catches so many parents out. The guessing works for a while. It gets them through the visual words well enough, since those already have something to lean on. It's the blanks, the small connecting words, and the bigger abstract ones where the whole strategy quietly falls apart. And by then, it's usually been happening for years without anyone realising why. What does this look like? Well, once you know what to look for, the signs are everywhere. So things like a flat monotone reading voice, because so much effort is going into pushing through the blank bits that there is none left over for the expression. Losing their place on a page right after a run of small connector words. Reading the same word 2 different ways in the space of 1 paragraph. A kind of exhaustion that shows up even after a short reading session, because hitting a blank every second line is genuinely tiring work. So notice none of this is about effort or intelligence. A child can be working incredibly hard, using every clue available to them, and still be nowhere close to actually reading with ease. So what is it that actually helps? It's not more phonics practice. It's not more reading at home. None of that addresses the real problem. It's that a good portion of the words on the page were never going to make sense to a mind that needs something visual for it to understand. What helps is giving those blank words somewhere to live. Teaching a visual thinker how to attach a picture or an object, even an abstract or invented one, to the words that don't naturally have one. So of and were stop being speed bumps and start being words the brain can actually hold on to. Once that happens, there is no reason to be guessing, because the blanks that caused the speed bumps are gone. None of this is a choice that your child is making. It's actually what happens when a visual mind meets a page full of words with nothing to attach to. Once you understand that, the whole picture changes, and so does what you can actually do about it. If any of this sounds like your child, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message or find me at dyslexiaunpuzzled.co.nz. Let's have a talk about what's actually going on for them. And if this video brought someone to mind while you've been watching it, please go ahead and share it with them. You never know who might need to hear this today. Please also hit like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.